Hey everybody, welcome back. A few weeks ago, I recorded a series of videos on the discovery process. And after a few conversations with clients and colleagues and friends, I'd like to continue that conversation with you by presenting an important fact. And that is that during the disclosure after infidelity, there comes a point in time where more details are actually more problematic rather than a benefit. There is truly such a thing as knowing too much. Yes, knowing what happened during the affair is critical for the betrayed spouse, for them to continue their healing. But if you are a betrayed spouse, I want you to consider that there comes a time when you have enough information to move forward or continue to move forward. I know this is hard, and I have walked with hundreds, maybe thousands of couples through this process at this point in my career. And it's like the questions just keep coming and surfacing in your own mind. And oftentimes, you want those questions to stop, but you feel helpless to do so. And even after you've gotten the details you need and figured out what happened, and you've wrapped your mind around the betrayal, most of the time, I think the biggest cause of that loop, that cycle, is really all about fear. We want more answers because we want to know that last date, the last incident, the last time when we were made a fool of. But there comes a point that when getting more information and more details becomes quite destructive. At that point, are the details a way just to rehash the same information over and over again? And are they leading to more connection? That would be a big question that I would want you to consider. Often, betrayed spouses continue asking questions after they've already gotten enough information. They believe that more answers will somehow help them make sense of everything. That if they just get one more detail or more and more information, they'll be able to wrap their minds around the betrayal a little better. But in reality, you'll never, ever be able to fully understand what's happened. And at some point, you have to accept that maybe you're only going to understand about 80% of it. And when I use the word acceptance, I'm not saying that it was okay. I'm just saying that you will accept what's happened. About 80% of the information will help you get to that place. In Cindy Beal's book, Healing Your Marriage When Trust is Broken, Finding Forgiveness and Restoration, she gives a really good, interesting example that she and her husband went through. She reports that one day she had, once again, another question. And she asked it, and her husband looked at her. And he grabbed her hands and he said, "I'll answer any question you ask for the rest of my life if it will make you feel any better." And she goes on to say that one thought really caught her. She realized that he was right. The answer wouldn't make her feel any better. The only thing it would do is tell her the day and time that she was last made a fool of. It wasn't going to help her move forward, but rather only keep her stuck. That's where 70 to 80% of the time, once you begin to get the view of what happened, any and all additional answers, all they do is make you feel worse or keep you stuck in this loop. There comes a point in recovery, honestly, when you need to stop asking questions and accept that you have enough information to continue moving forward and moving through recovery. You have to accept that you'll never be able to fully understand why your mate did what they did. And you have to accept that they're trying with all their heart to give you the answers that will help you heal. And eventually, you will come to accept that it is enough. And I just want to say that I'm not here today to tell you when that will be. It is different for every person I've ever worked with. I'm asking you, though, to be open to that idea that you will get to that place. If your mate isn't answering your questions, if they're angry or defensive, or if they continue to lie or trickle truth, or worse still, if they're involved in the affair and you're still trying to understand what happened, that's one thing. But if your mate is answering your questions and forthcoming about all the details and not putting the burden on you to have the right questions, then I believe after a couple of months, if curiosity begins to knock on the door and you want more details, you need to stop and ask yourself two questions. Do I need to know this? And will this information help me heal? It's difficult, but I am asking you to consider resisting the urge to look for more and more details when they'll only cause you further pain and more intrusive thoughts. Remember, at a certain point, more information stops being helpful and instead becomes destructive to your healing. It only keeps you stuck, rotating in that first part of recovery, the realization and the understanding stage. So when you're craving more information, I urge you to pause and use those two questions as a litmus test. If both answers are yes, then you can confidently ask your new questions, knowing that they will help you move forward. But if both answers are no, then I would urge you strongly to table your questions. This way, you can begin moving into the next stage of recovery, which is releasing your pain. And as you attempt to move forward and release your pain, there's one behavior that can sabotage your efforts. And I see this pretty frequently. It's asking comparison questions. You never want to ask a question that allows you to paint a picture in your head. And comparison questions aren't helpful in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Not only that, but they're probably the most difficult questions to ask, and also they're probably the most difficult for your unfaithful spouse to answer. Questions like, am I adequate? Am I inadequate? These comparison questions only lead to additional hurt and pain. And additionally, questions that deal with what your spouse said to their affair partner, sexual positions, physical attributes, or anything that helps you paint a picture of the events are harmful to infidelity recovery. And it's not that you can't get over intrusive thoughts, but they'll make the recovery process much more difficult and drag it out a little bit longer. Comparison questions are probably the ones that draw us the most because, again, we want to see our own inadequacies. And if you can resist asking comparison questions, it will significantly help your recovery. Before seeking new information, keep asking yourself, do I need to know this, and will it help me heal? If these answers are no, then you probably shouldn't ask any new questions, especially comparison ones. Likely, the new details you're seeking will only keep you stuck and stunt your healing. Please consider when it comes to disclosure, you may already understand the betrayal as well as you're able to. And continuing to ask questions over months and months will just keep you stuck in your pain. It won't facilitate your healing, and it won't help you move forward, whether or not you decide to stay in the relationship or not. And eventually, I hope you'll reach a place where you feel you finally have enough answers to begin or to continue your healing process. With all that being said, it's challenging, very challenging to get to this place. And I want to say to the unfaithful or the wayward spouse, you don't get to decide or dictate when your spouse has enough information. I want to encourage you to tell the whole story of the affair as quickly as possible. No trickle truth. I call that disclosure, not discovery. And disclosure is painful, but not nearly as painful as months or even years of the discovery process. Then they don't have to spend months or even years investigating, digging, and asking questions. Help them, help yourself and your relationship heal by being transparent without blame or without defensiveness. You'll really speed this process up if you do that. And I think one of the best places to continue your recovery journey as a couple is the EMS online course. You'll get the guidance and the tools you need to help you move beyond this intense questioning phase of recovery. And you'll be able to rebuild your confidence and your connection as you continue to move forward. It's helped thousands of couples over the years get past the affair and move on to a better life. So for more information, I hope you'll go to the Affair Recovery website and visit the EMS Online course page. All the details are there. Thanks so much for joining me. It is always good to be with you. Know that we at Affair Recovery want and are hoping for the best for you, and we're here to support you both any way we can through whatever phase of recovery that you're in. So until next week, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you then.